Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. We provide world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. I'm Caroline HEWARD and I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert. A very warm welcome to our loyal viewers and those that are here for the first time. And also a very special welcome to our viewers and friends at E360 TV. Hello to our friends on ROKU worldwide and Amazon Fire, as well as our usual social media channels and platforms, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. Our show today is a Woman's Prerogative Part 2. Our Part 1 was very interesting, which was scheduled and aired at 7 p.m. British Summer Time, which was 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And our Part 2 is a few hours later, that's 9 p.m. British Summer Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Our show today is being brought in partnership with E360 TV. And we're very happy to be in partnership with E360 TV, especially to our new viewers. If you're listening on the live or on the replay, a warm welcome to you. We are here today to talk about our very, very interesting topic today is United in Strength, Global Women Lifting Each Other. We had an extremely interesting topic and debate with our panelist, Dr. Madalene in Part 1, and I'm looking forward to looking at this subject in Part 2. But before we do that, I want to tell you something about what's happening, and I want you to be part of it. If you're not already, it's a good time to be part of being part of our community. I want you to share in our vision and help us reach 100,000 subscribers. Our goal is 100,000 today. And if you subscribe and we hit that 100,000 subscribers, and we're looking at in the next few months, so it's a tall order, but what that means is that we will reach more people and have more people being inspired, educated, and having that exploration of hope. We are showcasing talent and inspiring the world, and it is your opportunity to become a host of your own TV show with us. You can subscribe to our VRP exclusive community, and you will get royal shows from London. You will get royal news from London, and it'll be straight off the press if you are part of USA Global TV and Radio, and it'll be live streamed to our VIP exclusive community. So please do join our list, our subscribers, and be part of this incredible explosion. So now we move into our topic and introducing our extraordinarily powerful panelist. That's Mariska all the way from New Zealand, and an expert and presenter in her own right on our TV show. Please bring out Mariska. Hello, Mariska.
Hello, Caroline.
Well, you're qualified in so many things, but Mariska, please do introduce yourself. Keep it brief, because there is a lot to cover, and we didn't cover half of the things I wanted to cover in Part 1. So please do explain and tell our viewers a little bit about what you do and what value you bring to them.
Thank you for the lovely introduction, Caroline. And it always makes me laugh to know how I am perceived by others, which is also a good thing for, well, other people to know. And that is some of the things that I work with in the space that I operate in. So I am a leadership development partner and coach. And what that means is if you are moving from a specialization into leadership, or you are moving up within your leadership space, I help within these areas to bring a little bit more of that humanness into the space, and finding out how it is that we are not only perceived, but also impacting those around us in those spaces, because as a leader, that is a fairly important thing to understand. So that is where I work and how I help others, Caroline. How about you?
Thank you, Mariska. Always a pleasure. Well, I help people bust their stress. How do I do that? I work with root cause therapy using chakra psychology and counseling skills. I work with root cause therapy in terms of identifying what caused the problem in the first place. Many people walk around and they say that they're not stressed, but then they might be complaining they're not sleeping, a physical ache and pain, or they might be complaining about a relationship that they're in, or a friendship, or somebody that's really, really doing their head in, literally, in their family, because they're poking in areas and twisting the knife. And when that happens, and we're all subject to that, this will be how stress manifests in the mind and in the body. And I help people literally break through the chains that create the repeating patterns of how we experience stress in the workplace, at home, in our relationships, and with our family. And I look forward to helping you bust your stress. So let's move straight into the topic. I want to just briefly describe some of the things that we covered so that we can, rather than repeat some of those things, actually go into some new areas, because I've written a couple of pages of people that I wanted to mention. I know, because there are so many global people. Now, we talked about our wonderful and our famous in-house broadcaster, Dr. JACALYN. She is an iconic woman. She is a global woman lifting each other up, lifting us all up on this channel. We talked about Princess Diana, who was the people's princess, and how, and when she died, what an effect that had, not just in the UK, but globally. We talked about people in films, and one of them in particular was Barbie, and the inspiration that she gave. So a little bit of likeness from our wonderful Dr. Chan. So there are people that I wanted to mention in terms of people that we didn't look at, and that's some corporate people. We also looked at people such as Oprah Winfrey, and we looked at Anita Roddick. And then there were many, many more that I wanted to talk about. And I thought, you know, so I wanted to make sure that we kind of got a little bit of a broad brush of where we went and where I'd like to go. And some of the people that I'm thinking about talking about in this part too are the Queen. She was iconic. And Kate Middleton. I know it's very British, but these are global women. CEOs of major corporations, as Mary Bairn, CEO of General Motors, and also Taylor Swift. So I'm just giving you a bit of a broad brush of, you know, what I just looked at in very brief research and the people that really made a difference. So looking at the topic, just looking at united in strength, global women lifting each other. Just hearing that for the first time, what global woman comes to mind in terms of qualities? What qualities does it represent to you when you consider a global woman lifting us up?
That is a very interesting question. And the thing that's drawing me in that question at the moment is the global and, of course, the woman. And two people that sort of springs to mind, you mentioned one, which is Taylor Swift. The other one that I'm thinking about is Shania Twain. So both of them singers. I'm also thinking about Pink, some odd reason. Another woman, another singer. So those specifically for me stand out because they stand strong in whatever the belief is that they're bringing in, whatever the ideas that they share with us, the way that they, I think, help us see different perspectives. That to me, when I think about as human beings, us lifting each other up, those are qualities that I think is very helpful for all of us to be able to be lifted up. Because, I mean, I can be in my own little bubble, but that doesn't necessarily mean that my bubble is a thriving one. And one of the elements that I've been digging into of late is systemic work. So systemic change and how that works, how our ecosystems interlink with one another. And I think that these people do not only look at the individual, they look at the broader system. They look at how we as humanity or how we as women work together, and what's the strengths that we bring into our spaces and how we can utilize those in maybe a different way that is serving and helping all of us to thrive instead of just some of us. So that's what's coming to mind for me at the moment. Caroline, how about you?
And you've brought up some things that I hadn't thought about. And at the same time, you know, these are women qualities. And when we stand tall and we stand proud and we stand for something, we stand out from the crowd. And one of the things that came to me was collaboration. That women tend to collaborate very successfully with women and with men. And there is more of a team in the women than there is generally. And I'm not saying that to be sexist, but the women feminine energy tends to collaborate and look for the qualities that they don't have to bring together to create a more powerful experience and a more powerful team. And so, yes, I totally agree with you with Taylor Swift, and she actually stands for what she's writing about, what she's singing about, and she has a very young following, and people are warming to her culture, her words and her message. And so she's getting people on board with her messages. She's talking about things that are meaningful to them. And that's where I believe being a global woman uplifting, that we're reaching people through our messages, whether it's through song, writing, or our activities. And so, yes, I'm quite in agreement with you in terms of looking at the qualities of women, because this is where we come from. You know, it's when these people rise up and say, yes, you know, the feminine energy will have a certain quality. And the other things that, you know, in my research I found was that money is another aspect of what these women have, because with the money, with the finances behind them, they're able to do more and reach more and attract more. And so they're using media as part of their plethora of activities to create their impact. And this is something that, you know, we talked about in part one, that Dr. JACALYN is definitely up there in our iconic global women, because she's doing all of the things that the research says that you should be doing to be lifting people up. So I'd want to, I want to look at what women in your life and what women can you think of that are global, that have made you feel part of that uplift, and that you felt that they've been a beacon for you or for people in your family or people that you know. If you just consider when you were growing up, I talked about, Anita Roddick was very much a person that I aspired to. And Mother Teresa was another one when I was young that I aspired to, because there were very few women when I was growing up. So what about you? On the different side of the world, what people come to your mind?
Caroline, this is a very broad question that I think for me, and I'm really thinking back to as I grew up, who really stood out. And Princess Diana definitely comes up as one of those people. I think the other person, and she is not global in the sense that everybody knows about her, and yet we all have one. We all need one, otherwise we would literally not be here. And that's a mom. And I think for me, my mom really helped me to see that women can be capable of literally anything. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. You need to figure it out, but you can do it. And I didn't have a lot of women within the STEM field that I can say, oh yeah, I saw this person and that's why I wanted to go into engineering, or this is the thing that inspired me. I think for me, it was more of she showed me that it was possible. And I decided that, well, this is the thing that I want to be doing, and I went for it. So she lifted me up, even though she might not have been a global force. I'm sure she had global influences from some sort, which I have never discussed with her before. So that gives me a good question to be asking my mom next time that we speak. So thank you for that question. I think it's really igniting things in me that I haven't considered yet. And I would love to think about them more. And I'm wondering for you what that might be.
Well, I didn't even consider or think, because I was thinking very big, but you're absolutely right, because our mothers are influenced by the people around them. And so it's from a different generation. And so, yes, I hadn't thought about it. And yet my mum would always be, and still is, the wise owl. She still gives me nuggets of things that I just don't see. She's like sort of, a mum that has the mum things that they say. I reckon there's a mummy school somewhere, which I haven't managed to get into as of yet. But when I was doing my research, there were people that came up that I hadn't actually heard of in terms of names. And yet they were very iconic in terms of their awards and what they stand for and what they represent in terms of business. And so before I get into that, there were people that I immediately thought about. And when I was doing my research, well, there was one person that I hadn't kind of thought, yeah, she really has done it. Beyonce.
Yes.
Beyonce is iconic. She's globally known, renowned. And it's because she is on message in different ways to different people. And she's showing how a woman can be empowered and inspirational to many different target audiences and spreading her message. She's not just in one country, she is global. And somebody else that I thought about, and when I was growing up, was Madonna.
Yes. Oh,
And
yes.
when I was very young, and sort of she came on, and she was like sort of like a virgin, I think was her first song, and then Holiday. And she's been with us for decades. And
Mm-hmm.
what I can see that Madonna has done is she has been inspiring in terms of always reinventing herself and following with the times. And she's not just stuck in the 80s. She's not only producing what she did back then, she's reinvented herself every decade. And she still looks amazing. I don't know how she does it. But what she is she's given something to the music industry. She's given something, you know, in terms of our ability to be entertained. Bless you. And at the same time, you know, I feel that I've traveled with her all the way through. She's been, you know, part of my world ever since I left school. And now I'm going to look at people in the corporate side. Mary Benn is the CEO of General Motors. I didn't actually know this because I haven't kind of gone down that field and I've not been in that area, but this might be familiar to you. Now, I read a little bit about her background and her history, and it really inspired me. She joined them as a student, a co-op student, back in 1980. And she became the VIP Global Human Resources person in 2014. And now 2009, my apologies. And then she became the CEO and chair in 2014. Now that's amazing.
It is.
You know, because when I left school in 1980, and it was very hard to be in management back then. You either chose management career or you chose family. And if you had a boyfriend or you got married, you were not taken seriously. So this lady should be an inspiration to me. Having done my research, I'm kind of going, wow, she left school in 1980, just like I did. And yet now she's the CEO and chair for General Motors, which is a very masculine organization. And that is inspirational. And what she has shown me just in my short lifetime of being from leaving school to what I do now, that it's possible. It's possible to be at the top of your game and really, really lift women in the field of work. What are your thoughts on what I've just shared? Because that was new for me when I did my research.
Well, thank you for sharing it. And it's new for me too. So there you go. And I love the fact that I think that's the one thing that to me is really inspiring is people, if we step into what we believe in, really step into it, we can make anything happen. And I think sometimes we are a little bit scared of what we can make happen. Because we think we need to choose. We have all these biases and preconceptions and beliefs. That didn't stop Joan of Arc, right? There was a whole bunch of stuff happening for her. She didn't mind. Like, yeah, okay, fine. If you want to believe that, but I'm going to forge ahead and do this other thing. It also didn't stop, speaking of British, the Iron Lady.
Oh, gosh, yes. Margaret Thatcher. She was really iconic. And thank you very much for reminding me. There are so many women. And then again, it was back in that time where there wasn't many women that were in those kinds of positions. She wasn't well liked. She did do things. And we're not here to discuss the politics of it all. We're here to look at women that stood out, that stood proud and made a difference and actually stood for something that they believed in and lifted countries globally. You know, she did sell off a lot of our country's silver, but then she actually made it possible for people to buy their own homes that probably wouldn't have been able to afford to have done it previously. So with the goods, there are always pros and cons in different things. But what she did was she lifted globally people into a different place in terms of what could be possible. So yeah, so you're thinking about my countries, New Zealand. And the other person I wanted to mention was Queen Elizabeth II. You know, when she died, she had actually seen in, I think it's 13 presidents. Sorry, 13 prime ministers. I'm thinking American. 13 prime ministers. That's a hell of a lot of prime ministers to go through. And she was stable throughout. And she actually started off in her realm very, very young, and she took it very seriously. And I actually remember when she died being very, very emotionally upset, because that's all I'd ever known. She was the woman, the figurehead that lifted the whole country and was known globally as our queen. I know that the Americans, they're very almost coveting our queen, you know, that we had our monarchy. And she demanded that grace and that presence wherever she went, because she was our queen. And from that perspective, she really did lift us. You know, I remember when I was a child, we would always listen to the Queen's message on Christmas Day. You know, it was 2 p.m. But she really did stand for a lot. And she also changed with the times as well. What are your thoughts on what I've just shared? Because I'm being very patriotic here. I'm being very British. But, you know, coming from New Zealand, what are your thoughts on what I've shared? And do you have the same kind of feeling that I'm sharing right here? Because I'm being very British in my moment here.
I think the thing that I really appreciate about your British moment at the moment is the fact that there's, with her being in reign for such a long time, it feels like there's been a long time of stability and the potential for growth. You have all of that. Countries like New Zealand, we have a link to the British because we are still linked to it. And we have a separation as well, in the sense that we go through all the motions around all the other political stuff that we need to do. So that stability, that grounding within other countries, I think we do not necessarily have it in such a profound way as you just described. You literally went through more than half your life having this one person that you just knew. Well, we have a queen and she's got this. We don't have to worry about it for the most part. And most other countries don't have that. We change over in our political systems quite a little bit more regularly, which has its advantages and its disadvantages. Part of why the system may or may not be working. And as you mentioned, we are not yet to debate on the political system. It's more looking at what it is that people bring in. And I think with the Queen being in such a long reign, that really gave a good base. And when we look at the other women within the global spaces, such as, for instance, Taylor Swift, right? Drawing a parallel to her and the Queen, she's been constant in her messaging. She's been constant in the way that she shows up. Some people love her, some people hate her, and she's okay with that. And it takes a very strong person, which I know internally sometimes, a lot of times, we don't feel it. And yet she keeps showing up. And that is, for me, what a global woman is when they uplift others. It's really standing strong in how we see the world growing into a better, thriving place. And taking steps towards that makes a big, big difference, which is also, again, what Dr. Jacalyn does on this platform.
Absolutely. We keep going back to her. We can't help it. And Dr. Jacalyn is doing her magic behind the scenes on this broadcast. Somebody else that in my research I found, and I thought this was amazing because, you know, I've come from a very corporate background. Jane Fraser, she's the CEO of Citigroup. Julie Sweet, she's the CEO of Accenture. And just to drop one in that is very British at the same time as going through those corporate ones. And I was surprised, but, you know, on those very, very professional services, you know, those very professional companies that are white collar, women are right at the top. And that is showing to me and telling me that women are getting into the boardrooms and they are globally showing and lifting other women into those more senior positions. And that was quite inspiring for me. Do you have any thoughts on what I've just shared there? Because it was a surprise to me because, you know, I hadn't really been keeping up with the names. And yet I was happy. I was pleased. It made me smile.
I think we still have a long way to go to get it into a balanced state where we do have a lot more women in higher positions. So it's quite interesting asking that question, Caroline. I read through the most recent Gallup survey that they did, so the 2024 one. And they did make a note that there is still quite a bit of a gap. There's also other research that they did to have a look at why we have experiencing this gap. And one of the big reasons is around our own biases, what we think women should or should not be able to do. And that, to me, is the thing that we really systemically need to change, is looking at what we sort of pigeonholing people into spaces instead of going, you know what, you can literally do whatever it is that you set your mind to. If you want to be the first woman on Mars, never mind the first person, go for it. I mean, it is literally there, and we need to, as a collective, start to move towards a space where we can lift each other up. Females standing together, I know sometimes it is a little bit tricky, and the more we do it, the better we get at it. So being able to do that and seeing all these great people, I mean, it's big names. If you think about it, I'm sure when Joan of Arc set out the very first day when she said, well, I want to make a change, it didn't go, I'm going to be a legend for the rest of eternity. I'm sure that was not the thought that went through her mind. The same with Margaret Thatcher initially. None of the people that stand up, I think, initially go out and say, yeah, this is what I want to stand for the rest of all eternity. And yet they take that first step. So I almost want to put a dare out there to all the ladies and say, what is it that we will be remembering you for? And how big can you make that? So, Caroline, what would it be for you?
Oh, that's wonderful. You know, feel very inspired here. I do want to share a bit of a whimsical one, and actually it's quite big, and again, a British one. Karen Brady. She was the very first lady of football. She joined Birmingham City Football Club and in 1993, and she became a campaigner for women in business and entrepreneurship. And again, that was still quite early days in terms of how we were perceiving women in the boardroom. You know, back in 1993, it was still very early. It doesn't sound like a long time, but, you know, back in that time, there wasn't so many there. And I remember there was a real hoo-ha about women in the boardroom, and certainly women on a football team. And yet she proved them wrong. And she talks very inspiringly about women's rights and also feminism. And she also suffered a lot of sexism when she was in that role, when she first joined them in 1993. And yet she still showed them, and she brought the club to a very famous place. I know that's very British. And at the same time, I think that what she did was absolutely incredible. She united in her strength and lifted globally women because of what she stood for. Well, we're pretty much out of time. Can you believe it? But before we actually end this, I do want to mention some other people, just to leave, because there are so many. Amy Winehouse.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, she just really did it, didn't she? And yet she brought back something that was quite incredible. There are other famous celebrities that I can think of that really made a difference in our music world and in our movies. And the other person that I would really want to give a mention to is Dame Judi Dench. She also did some things in terms of showing, in terms of the acting world, that you can still age gracefully and be in the movies. And the other person that comes to mind, just thinking about that, is Helen Mirren. She has shown you can be aging gracefully and a woman and still be in the movies. Well, we're actually out of time. And so I just want to briefly say, I wanted to mention those because they were so big for me. Please, Mariska, tell our viewers how they can get in touch with you and the best way to get in touch with you.
So if you are a inspired leader, or you are maybe a specialist wanting to step into that space, you can get hold of me via my email address, which is mariska@journey2discover.com. Or alternatively, you can find me on LinkedIn, send me a private message, and we can start our conversation. Oh, there you go. There I am on LinkedIn. Just look at me. Brilliant.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, in the background there, doing the wonderful magic. Thank you, Mariska. It's always a pleasure to have you on the panel, and we always look at inspiring and interesting topics that Dr. Jacalyn puts forward, and I always get an interesting view. For me, you can reach me on nomorestress@live.co.uk, or call me if you're international, +44. If you're local, 07523 120 189. And if you have any type of stress, I look forward to helping you bust your stress. We are now right at the end of our show, and I really look forward to seeing you again at the same time next week. That's 9 p.m. British summertime for a Woman's Prerogative Part 2, and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm also in Part 1, a Woman's Prerogative, which is 7 p.m. British summertime and 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And please remember to subscribe to USA Global TV and Radio and be part of our campaign to reach 100,000 subscribers, so that we can reach more and we can inspire more people and educate more people. It's been an amazing show, and I just want to really mention another person, because it's very topical in terms of our VIP exclusive subscribers club. Kate Middleton, who is rearing and becoming primed to be our next queen when the time is ready. And so if you subscribe to our VIP subscribers, you will then have hot off the press from our channel live stories if you would join our exclusive community. So subscribe now and join our VIP community for royal breaking news. Thank you very much, Dr. Jacalyn, for bringing up the boards. And with that, I look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same place. And over now to our amazing subscribers. Thank you so much to all of our viewers, and a very special thank you to E360 TV. Bye-bye for now.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Unstoppable Podcast. No matter where you are right now or what circumstances you face, lasting success is within your reach. Starring Ralph Graves Jr., author of the book Unstoppable. Ralph is a pastor, transformational speaker, and consultant. Follow Ralph on social media at Ralph Graves Jr. Unstoppable Podcast Wednesdays on USA Global TV and Radio. You are unstoppable. USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents our partner and sponsor, Mr. Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence. Building confidence, changing lives. And now, proudly presenting the Polished Professional.
On a transformative journey with the British School of Excellence's comprehensive suite of masterclasses, crafted to elevate your professional and personal life. 8 outstanding modules will elevate you to the next level. Module 1, Exploring Life's Purpose, delves into the depths of self-discovery, guiding you to chart your unique path to fulfillment and success. Module 2, Mastering Professional Presence and Confidence. This masterclass is a deep dive into the art of self-assurance and commanding presence, which is essential for standing out in today's competitive landscape. Module 3, Learn the secrets of visual impact, how to curate a personal style that amplifies your professional brand. Module 4, Mastering Professional Etiquette and Communication Excellence, navigating the nuances of corporate interaction with grace and tact. Module 5, Elegance in Eloquence. We impart powerful techniques to captivate and persuade any audience with your oratory skills. Module 6, Unlock the potential of your emotional intelligence, EQ, and harness the ability to connect, empathize, and lead with emotional savvy. Module 7, Mastering DISC, building a gateway to understanding behavioral styles, fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, Mastery in Dining Etiquette. Building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they're instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you.
Meet Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, President, Founder, and Chief Listening Officer of USA Global TV and Radio. She is a certified life, career, and executive coach. Dr. JACALYN is the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Behind the Green Screen and Adversity to Awesome. As the listening mentor, she teaches children and their families how to listen at an elevated level through the book series titled The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor. The Creative Hearts Awakening book series features heart-centric creatives who share their awakening journey. Through the Power of Listening educational course platform, people can get certified as elevated listeners on USA Global TV and Radio. Learn how to center yourself and align with nature through the power of nature, plants, and shrines. The Journey of Chakra Psychology course will educate you on the chakras and their meaning. The Intuition of the Heart course will help you understand how to trust your intuition. Learn how to face the shadows of self and understand the impact of following trends and materialism. Set boundaries and ask for permission to help establish better relationships, deeper connections, and more authentic conversations. Take your communication expertise to a higher level with the course for curious humans. After all, we are not robots. Looking to start your own podcast platform? Get everything you need in the Podcaster Pro package with Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. How can music, breath, and your voice set you free? Find out with the Power of Listening courses. Dr. JACALYN is a certified meditation teacher, yoga instructor, and Juice Plus distributor. She will help you create a plan for your healthy lifestyle. As an expert in the art of interviewing with over 3,000 hosted and/or produced live broadcasts, Dr. KERBECK helps her clients stand out as global broadcasters. Dr. KERBECK's books are available on Amazon. Start your listening journey by reading. Tune into the Listening Mentor TV show, Fridays on USA Global TV, and learn how listening can be your superpower. Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, MBA, DBA, Certified Holistic Life, Career, and Executive Coach, Certified Yoga Sculpt Teacher, Certified Meditation Teacher, The Listening Mentor, Singer-Songwriter, Founder, President, Chief Listening Officer of USA Global TV and Radio. drjacalyn.com. Thank you to all our elevated listeners, team members, animal characters, and co-authors. Contact us at 215-852-9406. JACALYN at drjacalyn.com.
This program has been brought to you in part by Zane Carson Carruth, etiquette and protocol expert, international award-winning author, television show host, and philanthropist. Thank you to Zane, our official diamond sponsor for USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Zane is the author of the world's first tooth fairy ever, as well as many other children's books. She's also the television host of Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living, seen on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Caruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
To learn more about Zane, contact her through her website, zanecaruth.com, ZANECARRUTH.com. Order Zane's books and merchandise. Contact her about being a keynote speaker at your next event.